Have you ever thought about how interestingly complicated human sexuality and behavior are? Have you ever thought about the false beliefs and myths that surround sexual fantasies, desires, and experiences? You've come to the right place if so. We'll look at a lot of research and ideas in this video that helps us understand how complicated human sexuality is. We'll talk about everything from shocking psychological findings to interesting new information about sexual preferences. Come with us on this interesting journey as we learn the secrets to sexual desire, satisfaction, and happiness. There is something for everyone in this video, whether you want to know how political views affect sexual fantasies or how erogenous zones affect sexual pleasure. So why should you see it through? Because what we're about to tell you might make you question what you think, help you understand more, and change the way you think about intimacy and pleasure. Get ready to learn more about human sexuality and behavior, and you might find out things that will change your relationships and make you healthier in general. Please let me know before we start. You can help me keep spreading the Stoic philosophy if you like the video. I suggest that you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos if you aren't already. Kindly leave comment number 1 if you like this video's subject. If not, kindly leave comment number 0 so I can make a better video for you. Let's start now. According to research from the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, about 10% of dreams have sexual content. This is an interesting look into how the subconscious mind explores desire and intimacy. This finding goes against what most people think dreams are about by showing that sexual fantasies are a normal and common part of life for everyone, regardless of gender. Researchers learn a lot about how our desires and fantasies are shaped by the complex interaction between our conscious and unconscious minds by looking at how often sexual content shows up in our dreams. Dreams about sexual encounters don't just happen to one gender, despite what most people think. Dreams about sexual things happen to both men and women, showing that sexuality is universal and that erotic fantasies are very different. This news goes against societal norms and shows how important it is to respect and acknowledge that everyone's sexuality and desires are different. People often think that the intense and violent sexual acts shown in adult movies are enjoyable for everyone when they talk about pornography. However, studies show that these kinds of portrayals may not match the tastes and boundaries of many people, especially women. Strong thrust may be uncomfortable or even harmful for some women, according to research. This shows how important consent, communication, and mutual respect are in sexual encounters. The discovery that men and women experience sexual arousal in similar ways is a big deal in the field of sexual psychology. Women and men experience arousal in a lot of the same ways, despite what societal norms say. Their bodies react in ways that are similar to how men's bodies react when they are sexually aroused. This new information challenges old ideas about what it means to be sexually female and stresses how important it is to recognize and accept that men and women have different sexual experiences and wants. Recent studies that look into the subtleties of men's sexual anatomy have looked at how important penis girth versus length is for sexual satisfaction. People usually talk about penis size when they talk about sexual prowess, but new research suggests that girth may be more important for both partners to have enjoyable sexual experiences. This new point of view makes us rethink the rules and expectations that society has about male sexuality. It also shows how important it is to have a more complex understanding of what makes a person sexually satisfied and fulfilled. Also, it's interesting to note that a large portion of people say they have no sexual fantasies at all. This event shows how complicated human sexuality is and how many different things can affect a person's desires and fantasies. We can have a more open and accepting view of sexuality that is free from strict rules and expectations if we recognize and respect this diversity. Researchers who look at sexual behavior in people of different ages have found interesting patterns in how often and how they change over time. These patterns can help us understand how sexuality changes as people age. People have a lot of sexual activity in their early adult years, which usually lasts from late adolescence to the early 20s. This is a time of exploring, experimenting, and making close relationships. Studies show that people in this age group, who are around 20 years old, have sexual relations about 80 times a year on average. This shows how active and curious people are at this point in their lives. People feel like they are discovering new things during this time as they deal with the difficulties of romantic relationships, figure out what they want, and establish their sexual identities while social norms and cultural expectations change. Stoicism tells people to be moderate about sex and beauty, to be self-disciplined, and to focus on their inner virtues instead of their wants. Some people, called Stoics, believe that people can find more happiness and fulfillment by controlling themselves and developing good traits. But as people reach middle age, which is usually defined as being between the late 30s and early 50s, they have fewer and fewer sexual encounters. There is a big change in sexual activity patterns when people reach 45 years old. By that age, they only have sexual encounters about 6 times a year on average. Several things can cause this drop, such as changes in hormone levels, shifting lifestyle priorities, and shifting relationship dynamics. At this point in life, responsibilities like moving up in your career, taking care of your kids, and helping your parents get older may also have a big impact on how much time and energy you spend on sexual intimacy. Also, research shows that some health problems can affect sexual functioning and activity. For example, people with migraines, especially those in long-term relationships in the US, have been shown to have a lot less sexual encounters over time. According to studies, the number of migraine sufferers dropped by 16 times per year between 2010 and 2014, compared to the years 2000 and 2004. This drop shows how complicated the relationships are between mental health, physical health, and sexual functioning. It also shows how important it is to look at sexual health and wellness as a whole. Also, the way people in different age groups think about and act sexually may be affected by how society and culture view it. People's willingness to be sexual as they get older can be affected by things like shame, stigma, and false beliefs about getting older and being sexual. Getting rid of these societal barriers and spreading a more positive and open story about sexuality at all stages of life is very important for promoting healthy attitudes about sexual expression and intimacy. Researchers can learn more about human sexuality and come up with better ways to support sexual health and well-being at all ages by looking into the many factors that affect sexual behavior across the lifespan. More and more people are realizing how important it is to meet the individual needs and experiences of people as they deal with the complicated issues of sexuality and identity over time. This includes everything from comprehensive sex education programs to specialized healthcare services. In addition, societal attitudes and cultural norms about getting older and being sexual may also have a big effect on how older people act sexually. Even though getting older causes changes in the body, new research shows that many older adults still have active and satisfying sex lives well into their later years. This goes against the common belief that sexual activity naturally decreases with age, and shows how important it is to understand that older people have a wide range of experiences and wants. It's important to note, though, that society doesn't always talk about or support sexual health and intimacy in older age. Because of this, misunderstandings and negative attitudes about sexuality in older age may last, causing older people's sexual health needs to be ignored and underrepresented in healthcare settings and social settings in general. Getting rid of these obstacles and encouraging open conversations about sexuality at all stages of life is important for creating a more welcoming and helpful atmosphere that values sexual diversity and gives people the tools they need to feel confident and happy on their sexual journeys. Promoting sexual health and well-being at all ages requires a deep understanding of how sexual behavior changes at different stages of life. We can work toward a more fair and inclusive society where people of all ages feel free to express their sexuality and get help for their sexual health needs by recognizing and addressing the many things that affect sexual activity, such as changes that come with getting older, health problems, and societal attitudes. Our goal is to make sure that everyone has the chance to have fulfilling and satisfying sexual relationships throughout their lives. We can do this through education, advocacy, and comprehensive healthcare services that are tailored to the specific needs of older adults. Most people think that certain clothes should be taken off during intimate moments to improve sexual pleasure. However, new research has found an unexpected link between wearing socks and a higher chance of having an orgasm. New studies suggest that keeping your feet warm during sexual activity may help you get more sexually aroused and have an orgasm. Warm socks may make it easier to have a better sexual experience by making you feel more relaxed and improving blood flow. This goes against the usual ideas about being naked and being close. This interesting finding shows that clothes might positively affect sexual experiences and stresses the need for more research into how clothes affect sexual arousal. Also, the fact that men can have orgasms without ejaculating is interesting from a physiological point of view. Even though ejaculation and orgasm are often thought of as the same thing, new research shows that they are two separate processes that can happen on their own. Men can sometimes have an orgasm without releasing seminal fluid. This is called a dry orgasm. This interesting finding shows how complicated the male sexual response is and questions what we thought we knew about how the body works during orgasms. By recognizing the different ways that sexual activity can bring pleasure, we can learn more about human sexuality and make sure that people of all genders are more satisfied with their sexual lives. Stoicism tells people to be moderate about sex and beauty, to be self-disciplined, and to focus on their inner virtues instead of their wants. Some people, called Stoics, believe that people can find more happiness and fulfillment by controlling themselves and developing good traits. More than that, the timing of orgasm and ejaculation is a physiological phenomenon that is worth looking into more closely. New research has shown that for both men and women, the orgasm starts a little before the ejaculation. This interesting finding suggests that orgasm may start before the release of semen or vaginal secretions. This shows how psychological arousal and physiological responses during sexual climax are very closely connected. Through studying the timing of orgasm and ejaculation, this study gives us important information about how sexual responses change over time and helps us understand how sexual pleasure and satisfaction work. Also, learning more about the complex nature of sexual physiology reveals a wide range of physical and mental processes that make up the sexual experience as a whole. At each stage of sexual arousal, many biological processes work together in complex ways. For example, neurotransmitters and hormones are released, and the brain's pleasure centers are turned on. Researchers can learn a lot about what makes people want to be sexual, get aroused, and be satisfied by breaking these mechanisms down and figuring out how they work together. Also, learning about the subtleties of sexual physiology not only helps us understand human sexuality better, it also leads to better ways to have sexual experiences. People and couples can grow closer to their sexuality and be happier in their relationships by questioning common beliefs and trying new ways to enhance pleasure. People can start a journey of sexual exploration and discovery that celebrates the rich tapestry of human sexuality by being open with each other, trying new things, and being open to different sexual experiences. The fact that many older people say they feel more fulfilled in their sexual lives as they get older is both surprising and interesting. This goes against the common belief that sexual satisfaction naturally decreases with age. It shows how complicated sexuality can be at different ages and suggests that things other than physical health are very important in determining sexual health in older adults. Along with good physical health, emotional closeness, clear communication, and a growing bond with a long-term partner are thought to play a big role in older people feeling more satisfied and fulfilled in their sexual relationships. Additionally, sexually active people of all ages need to get regular checkups and screenings. Sexually transmitted diseases, STDs that don't cause symptoms, are becoming more common. So regular screenings are important for finding them early and getting treatment right away. By finding and treating infections as soon as possible, people can protect their sexual health and lower the risk of giving infections to their sexual partners. So putting preventive care first and being proactive about managing your health are important things that sexually active people can do to keep their sexual health in good shape and improve their overall health. The surprising finding that older people are more sexually satisfied goes against what most people think about how sexual satisfaction changes throughout a person's life. Also, the significance of regular exams and checkups emphasizes the need to be proactive in safeguarding sexual health and well-being, irrespective of age. By looking at sexual health and wellness from a whole person point of view, people can have fulfilling and satisfying sexual relationships throughout their lives, which can lead to more intimacy, connection, and happiness in general. In addition to giving us interesting information about sexual fantasies Americans have, research shows that these fantasies often cover a wide range of topics, showing the variety of wants and needs people may have. These fantasies, which range from exciting situations with multiple partners to ones that are about exploring and trying new things, like having sexual encounters with a group, show how complicated human sexuality is. It has also been shown that some sexual fantasies can cause intense arousal and stimulation. This shows how deeply the psychological, emotional, and relational aspects of eroticism interact with each other. People can start a journey of self-discovery in sexual fulfillment by understanding and accepting the complex nature of sexual desire and expression. To get there, you need to talk to your partner openly and honestly, try new ways to be close and have fun, and put mutual satisfaction and fulfillment at the top of your list when it comes to sexual relationships. When people have sex in a way that respects their autonomy, diversity, and consent, they can create a more fulfilling and enriching sexual life that lasts a lifetime and promotes sexual health. Also, learning more about how sexual fantasies and desires change over time shows how complicated human sexuality is and how different people experience and express their erotic desires. Taking a more complete look at sex can help you become more self-aware and happy. For example, you can use your fantasies to learn more about yourself and grow as a person. You can also celebrate sexual diversity and individuality. By promoting a culture of openness, acceptance, and understanding of sexual fantasies and desires, society can make it easier for everyone to feel free to explore and embrace their sexual selves without fear of being judged or excluded. Stoicism tells people to be moderate about sex and beauty, to be self-disciplined, and to focus on their inner virtues instead of their wants. Some people, called Stoics, believe that people can find more happiness and fulfillment by controlling themselves and developing good traits. The way political beliefs affect sexual fantasy choices is an interesting topic that begs further investigation into the complex connection between ideas and sexuality. Recent research has looked into how people's political views might affect the kinds of sexual fantasies they have. These studies have given us some interesting new information about how personal values, social norms, and erotic imagination all interact. For example, research shows that people who identify with conservative political ideas, like Republicans, may be more likely to fantasize about doing things that are normally seen as wrong or immoral. Some examples of these fantasies are having affairs with other people, practicing BDSM, bondage, discipline, dominance, submission, or being in a relationship with someone other than your spouse. The fact that people with different political views have different sexual fantasy preferences shows how complexly ideological beliefs affect erotic desires and moral perceptions. Also, the fact that political beliefs can affect sexual fantasy choices shows how complicated human sexuality is. Different people's attitudes, beliefs, and social conditioning affect the sexual themes and content of their fantasies. As a result, political identity may affect how people understand and deal with their sexual desires, which in turn affects the kinds of fantasies they have and find exciting. Researchers want to learn more about the complex nature of human sexuality by looking into the link between political affiliation and sexual fantasy preferences. This intersectional approach shows how important it is to look at many things, like ideology, psychology, and social context, when studying sexual behavior and desire. It also stresses how important it is to accept and honor the variety of sexual expression in fantasy without bias or judgment based on political beliefs. Another important thing is that studying erogenous zones other than the penis and vagina gives us a lot of information about how people respond sexually, even though these parts of the body are often linked to sexual desire. New research has shown that only a small portion of the erogenous zones are actually in these areas. Instead, many parts of the body are named as possible places of increased sensitivity and pleasure, such as the lips and neck, as well as the ears, nipples, and inner thighs, among others. By exploring these less well-known erogenous zones, we can learn more about sexual pleasure and intimacy. This can make the sexual experiences of both individuals and their partners better by providing more opportunities for sensual exploration and stimulation. Furthermore, it is important to recognize that people of all genders experience a wide range of sexual problems and issues. Men can have delayed ejaculation, a condition in which they have trouble or can't get an orgasm even after a lot of sexual stimulation. This can have a big effect on their sexual satisfaction and their relationships. In the same way, a lot of women deal with problems like persistent genital arousal disorder, PGAD, which causes them to feel horny all the time, which is very upsetting and uncomfortable. To solve these complicated sexual health problems, we need to look at them as a whole, including psychological, medical, and relationship aspects. Adopting a comprehensive model of sexual health care will give people the help and tools they need to deal with and get past these problems, leading to healthier and more satisfying sexual experiences. A comprehensive and welcoming approach to sexual health care is needed when we think about the many ways that sexuality can show up and the many things that can affect sexual health and well-being. People can have sexual lives that are satisfying and fulfilling without being limited by sexual dysfunction or societal stigma if they put education, awareness, and access to resources at the top of their list of priorities. Accepting the complexity of human sexuality and encouraging open communication and understanding make it possible for people to explore their desires, talk about their worries, and ultimately find more happiness and satisfaction in their close relationships. Getting to know sexual dysfunctions, erogenous zones, and sexual fantasy preferences helps us understand the complex web of human sexuality. Learning more about the many things that affect sexual experiences, like personal preferences, societal influences, and biological processes, helps us understand the wide range of human wants and actions better. This deeper understanding then gives us the power to promote sexual health, well-being, and fulfillment for people from all backgrounds and orientations, making the sexual culture more open and accepting. Stoicism tells people to be moderate about sex and beauty, to be self-disciplined, and to focus on their inner virtues instead of their wants. Some people, called Stoics, believe that people can find more happiness and fulfillment by controlling themselves and developing good traits. Conditions like dyspareunia and vaginismus can make sex very painful, which can have a big effect on sexual health and relationship satisfaction. Even though these things don't happen very often, they show how important it is to be sensitive to each person's needs and comfort levels when engaging in sexual activity. Penis fractures are also very rare, but they serve as a stark reminder of how important it is to be careful and considerate when sexually active to avoid getting hurt and make sure you are safe during intimate encounters. Achieving great sex takes more than just luck or instinct. It often takes planning to learn new skills and educate yourself. Being knowledgeable about anatomy, good ways to communicate, and different sexual practices gives people the confidence and skills to handle their sexual experiences with ease. People can increase the number of sexual activities they can do and have deeper, more satisfying relationships with their partners by investing in sexual education and looking for resources like workshops, books, and therapy. In addition, using humor during sexual interactions can make the bedroom feel more fun and lighthearted. Sharing laughs and jokes can help two people feel closer to each other and more connected, making it easier for them to explore and express their sexuality. Additionally, a partner's ability to find humor in sexual situations is often seen as attractive and can help make the experience more relaxed and enjoyable for both individuals. In addition to the pleasure that comes from sexual activity right away, research shows that having a satisfying sex life is linked to many mental and physical health benefits. It has been shown that regular sexual activity can improve your mood, lower your stress, and make you healthier overall. Physical activity during sexual relationships has also been linked to better heart health, stronger immune systems, and a lower risk of some cancers. This shows how important sexual satisfaction is for one's health and longevity. In conclusion, pornography may be fun and exciting for some people, but it is very important to put comfort, safety, and open communication first during real sexual encounters. People can make deeper connections, have more fun, and improve their sexual health and well-being for themselves and their partners by creating a supportive and respectful sexual environment based on mutual consent, trust, and understanding. This will ultimately make intimacy and connection between people better. Thanks for coming along with us on this interesting trip through the world of human sexuality and behavior. We've talked about a lot of different things, from how political views affect sexual fantasies to how important it is to understand erogenous zones and sexual dysfunctions. As we come to an end, we'd like you to think about what you've learned so far. Which insights have stuck with you the most? Does there exist a certain area of sexual psychology or behavior that shocked or educated you? Please let us know what you think in the section below the comments. You can tell us about something you learned and how you plan to use it in your own life. Your feedback is critical to us because it helps us keep making useful and interesting content. Please leave a comment, like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you like this video. It will help us make more videos about psychology and human behavior. Thanks for being a part of our community. We hope to hear from you soon.